anyway. Check please, Mr. Benitez. Let's get to the team, starting with Chelsea. A couple of changes from their last league game. Barkley is dropped, Kovacic comes in, Morata not in the starting lineup today. Pedro is the man in the 11 as they play their false 9 formation to the Blues. So it's Kepa, Aretha Balaga in goal. Back four left to right of Marcos Alonso, Antonio Rudiger, David Luiz and Cesar Azpilicueta. Midfield trio of Mateo Kovacic, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante. Hazard through the centre with Willian and Pedro supporting bench. Barkley, Caballero, Giroud, Hudson-Odoi is fit enough to make the squad, as is Christensen, Emerson Palmieri and Ethan Ampadu complete the matchday squad. For Newcastle United, they've got some injury problems. Jonjo Shelvey is out, Paul Dummett is missing, Carl Darlow is out, Muto is on his way to the Asian Cup, so he is not in the matchday squad either. Let's give you the 11. 3 changes in their last league game, the loss at Old Trafford. Longstaff, Lejeune and Clark come in for Diame, Dummett and Cher. Dubravka in goal. Back 3 of Kieran Clark, Jamal Lascelles and Lejeune, but Matt Ritchie and DeAndre Yedlin will basically be in a back 5. Sean Longstaff and Isaac Hayden, both defensive midfielders in that centre of midfield, with Jose Perez and Christian Atsu, the Ghana international, looking to support Solomon Rondon. On the bench, Cher, Murphy, Fernandez, Manquillo, Joselu, Sterry and Woodman. Alongside me for this game, Sam Parkin. Sam, got to talk about Chelsea's home form. They beat Nottingham Forest here in the Cup, but they've struggled for goals, they've struggled for consistent performances as well. What are you expecting from Chelsea today?
I'm expecting Chelsea to have the ball for the majority of the game. I'm expecting Newcastle to retreat. I want to see them be a little bit more adaptable. I think that's what the Chelsea fans are crying out for, really. I don't think he's going to change the system, if you like, but I just like to see them move it with a little bit more tempo, side to side, not take too many touches, just be a little bit quicker with the ball from the outset. And I think being at home, they'll get more chances than they have done against, you know, a team defending very deep in recent weeks. But it's a concern. The lack of goals is a big concern. 6 in the last 7 games, that says it all, really. You don't expect that of a team, you know, a top 4, top 6 team in the Premier League.
We know that Maurizio Sarri sees himself as a tracksuit manager, a training ground manager, however you want to put that. But is it the transfer market that will salvage this issue for Chelsea? Would Callum Wilson, who's been spoken about a lot, make a difference?
Quite possibly. I think you're right during your intro there. I think a few of the players are looking a little bit tired, not in the sense of because of the stage of the season, in terms of their careers. You know, I think they could do with a little bit of impetus from a team, some players coming in from outside.
Yep.
You know, just to give the squad a little bit of a boost, give it a little bit of a freshness. I think some of the players have been there probably long enough now, and if you look at the teams that are comparable to Chelsea at the top of the division, I think there's probably better, younger, more vibrant players at some of those football clubs. So I think there's a little bit of activity certainly that needs doing in January, nothing more so than getting a new striker in. I don't know about Wilson. I think someone that's had those injury problems is a big risk, but he'd probably give you attributes that they haven't got currently in the squad.
Chelsea have scored just 11 goals in their last 10 Premier League fixtures. Briefly to Newcastle, now in these games, I've called a lot of these games where they've gone to the top 6. They've lost the last 9 trips to top 6 opposition, Newcastle, by a heavy aggregate scoreline as well. You're looking at 11, we're not expecting anything more adventurous from Rafa Benitez's side, are we?
Not really. I'd imagine they'll go quite long and try and bypass Chelsea if they're going to press them when they lose the ball. They'll get a lot of balls into the box. I think that's always a feature of their play, especially when Rondon's in the side, and he can be very good on his day. It's just not consistent enough. I mean, I think they're the second lowest scorers in the division. Huddersfield, I think, are the worst, and that says,
of course they are.
And that says, yeah, and that says what's up with them this season. I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more ambition, and because of their results away from home against the teams lower down the Premier League, you question as to why he doesn't feel he can get a little bit more joy, being a bit more proactive and a bit more attacking. I mean, the opening 15 minutes I think will be crucial in this game.
With the way results have gone today in the Premier League, Newcastle United start this match at third bottom. That is in the relegation zone, 18th place, 18 points, one behind Cardiff, who drew against Huddersfield, the bottom club today. So things getting a bit squeaky for Newcastle. They need a shock win. Maybe it'll happen tonight at Chelsea. Let's hear from their manager Rafa Benitez, who's surprisingly not that liked round here. I never really got it. I still don't get it. A Europa League winner with Chelsea, but not popular with Blues fans. Let's hear from a man who might be going down that route as well. With him, Maurizio Sarri, the current Chelsea boss.
We need to score, of course. We need to solve this problem, because also in the last match we played, I think, very well, with continuity, with a very good offensive phase and a very good defensive phase, with a great performance from the physical point of view, the best of the season, but we didn't score. So now we have this problem. We have only to work and try to solve it as soon as possible, I think.
What you cannot change is the reality. The reality is that we are in a division that is so difficult, and then we have to fight for every single point. That's it. So we cannot think that, oh, we are much better now, we are worse now than we were 2 months ago. We were losing games 2 months ago, and we won some games in a row. Fine. Last year was exactly the same. So my example is the last year. January we were in a difficult position, then we start winning, and then we finish 10th in the league. Maybe some people were thinking, oh, because we finished 10th now we can finish 7th. No, we knew that was very close, and we know that will be very close this year until the end.
The match is very difficult because they are doing better away. They lost 8 matches out of 11 at home, but only 3 out of 10 away. So it's a very difficult opponent away, and the match will be, I think, the same. I think the same. I hope, of course, to score in the first 30 minutes. We need to improve in the last 20-25 meters, I think.
As always, balance between to attack and try to create something, and balance between to defense. So if you have the balance between attack and defense, you have more chances to get points because you have more clean sheets, or maybe you will have more chances. So always I talk about the short blanket, but the reality is balance. Some people think that when you are defending well, you are defensive. No, we have balance because we are well organized, and we have to be well organized, we have to defend well, and we have to attack well, all counter-attack well, because normally the Chelsea will have the possession.
Thoughts there of the two managers, Maurizio Sarri and Rafa Benitez. Chelsea have lost only one of their 23 home Premier League games against Newcastle United. That was a 2-0 defeat in May 2012 when the Blues were coached by Roberto Di Matteo. Can the Magpies rewrite history today and capitalise on Chelsea's home form blip? We shall find out. Kickoff is next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much.
Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million Predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can.
Superannuation and retirement planning isn't easy. It's Brett Steen here, and you've heard me for the last 10 years on radio explaining it. Approaching retirement? Come and see me and the team at Jacaranda Financial Planning to talk through the super rules, help with strategies to get your super and account-based pensions working harder. To make an appointment, call Jacaranda on 9240 2610. Jacaranda Financial Planning, 9240 2610.
What if new experiences were to meet the old world? Celebrity Cruises' revolutionary new ship Celebrity Edge sails Europe in 2019. Dine on the world's first cantilevered restaurant at sea. Unwind in modern luxury accommodation. Sail beyond expectations with Celebrity Edge. Book today and save up to $800 during the Sail Beyond event. Visit celebritycruises.com.au, call 1-800-754-500 or contact your travel advisor. Conditions apply.
Kia's open season is now on, serving up match-winning deals across the Kia range. Plus, every new Kia comes with Australia's best 7-year factory warranty. See your Kia dealer today. Kia, proud partner of Macquarie Sports Radio's Summer of Tennis.
GateSafe Tri-Latch. Kids can't even say it, let alone open it. Protect your kids. Fit an award-winning Tri-Latch today. No other pull latch is safer.
GateSafe Tri-Latch, available at Bunnings warehouses for $54.99. Find it in the pool fencing aisle or g8safe.com.au. Proud partners of Royal Lifesaving Australia.
Introducing New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, the state's largest will maker. Our experts can help you make or update your will and then store it for you too. With our flexible consultations, you can start the process online, call us, or simply drop into one of our 9 offices throughout New South Wales. We make preparing a will easy. While some things have changed over the years, others remain the same for a good reason. New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, writing wills for ages. Start your will today. Visit tag.nsw.gov.au or call 1300 10 20 30. For fees and charges, please see our website.
Are you super busy and sick of doing everything yourself? Relax, that's what Seekers are for. If you're driving and need phone numbers and Through Connect, call Seekers. Need to find a product or service? Call Seekers. Just need someone to look something up? Call Seekers. That's what Seekers do, for just 55 cents a minute. Join today using promo code 954 for a free trial. Promo code 954, first 30 minutes free. Seekers.com. That's Seek, A-R-S.
Macquarie Sports Radio's Summer of Cricket, winning fans all over Australia.
Mum, was that a golden duck or a duck?
I don't know, but I think picking duck for tea.
And Bingley, proud partner of Macquarie Sports Radio's Summer of Cricket.
League Live. Sari ball is stalling at Stamford Bridge. An early season blaze has turned into a mid-season blip. The Blues have failed to score in their last 2 home games in the league. They laboured against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup and lost their Carabao Cup semi-final first leg in midweek. But it isn't the style that's the problem, says Sari, it's simply the scoring. Alvaro Morata, Olivier Giroud and Eden Hazard have all been used up front, but nothing has worked consistently, leaving the training pitch manager surely needing some transfer market help to drive the rest of this season. Newcastle have lost their last 9 in a row away against the top 6 clubs. Maybe Rafa's ultra-defensive style, which has repeatedly failed, will be discarded for today's match. Looking at the starting 11, I wouldn't count on it. Let's get to those starting 11, starting with Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek unavailable, got a back problem. Alvaro Morata struggling with a hamstring issue. He does not make the matchday squad. 2 changes from their last Premier League game. The 11 is Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. Back 4 left to right of Marcos Alonso, Antonio Rudiger, David Luiz and Cesar Azpilicueta, who captains the team. Midfield trio, Jorginho in the centre, supported by Kovacic and Kante left and right. Up front, Eden Hazard with Willian and Pedro supporting. Bench is Barkley, Caballero, Giroud, Hudson-Odoi, Christensen, Emerson Palmieri and Ethan Ampadu. For Newcastle, 3 changes from their loss against Manchester United, their last game in the league. Diame, Dummett and Cher drop out for Longstaff, Lejeune and Clark. Clark and Lejeune in the centre of defence alongside Jamal Lascelles in a trio there. Dubravka is in goal. Wing-backs are DeAndre Yedlin and Matt Ritchie. Longstaff and Isaac Hayden in the centre of midfield with Ayose Perez and Christian Atsu supporting Solomon Rondon up front. They're going to have to work very hard today, Solomon Rondon, as he always seems to in the Premier League. Such a short straw he's had during his time at West Brom and Newcastle. I don't think anyone's ever been within 10 yards of him in a Premier League game. Bench for Newcastle with Cher, Murphy, Federico Fernandez, Manquillo, Joselu, Sterry and Freddie Woodman, the sub-goalkeeper. We're underway here at the Bridge. Chelsea wearing their blue home strip shirts and shorts with white socks, trim and numbering. Newcastle wearing their home strip away from home, the barcode strip of black and white, black black shorts and black socks. First minute of the game for Chelsea to get on the front foot. They've won an early free kick, which comes to nothing in the end, and goes bouncing through to Martin Dubravka in the Newcastle goal, away to our right, wearing all green this evening. Newcastle kick from right to left, Chelsea left to right, the long goal kick all the way through to Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. Out with Cesar Azpilicueta in the right back area. He'll go to Pedro back to Azpilicueta into Jorginho, playing in a tight area there, Chelsea, but very effectively. Hazard's flick is then recovered by N'Golo Kante. Kovacic will then bring the Blues forward, right to left. Ball to Willian, subject to a transfer bid this week, according to reports. Wonder what his future holds and whether it will be at the bridge. When Antonio Conte was here, looked like he would be a bit of a goner, but has been a regular under Maurizio Sarri. Sam Bargain, how important is this game for Chelsea, and how important is it they put on a bit of show here as well?
I think really important. One, given the recent results, especially the lack of goals, and two, because of the fixtures that are coming up. Semi-final, obviously second leg, and big game against Arsenal next weekend. So if they weren't to win today, you'd have to say that there would be concerns about the manager, certainly, if they were to get some indifferent results against the North London clubs.
And Chelsea there looking to come forward through Jorginho. Lob forward goes out of play for a goal kick to Newcastle. What's the feeling like with Chelsea fans? You're in amongst Blues supporters a lot. Is he still revered, liked, respected, Maurizio Sarri?
I think so. I think start of the season everyone was quite realistic. I think they'd have taken top 4, Tom, and a cup, I would suggest. Still on course for that at the moment. I just think it's been a little bit of a wobble. I think we've been very lucky at Stamford Bridge with the strikers that have been in the building for the last 10-15 years. Very unique. Drogba, very important to the way Chelsea played, and in more recent times Diego Costa. So I think it's just a period where they haven't got a focal point, someone who is capable of doing all the jobs in one, and that's what you had with those two before mentioned players. So I would be amazed if January they don't try and go and get someone and really put a marker down and try and have a better second half of the season in goal scoring regard.
3rd of January down, and still no player has come in that forward position for Chelsea. As we mentioned earlier in the programme, the Blues have scored just 11 goals in their last 10 Premier League fixtures, just 1 point from their last 2 home games in the league. That's why the question marks have arisen over the Blues. It's Newcastle coming forward now, though. Down the right-hand side with DeAndre Yedlin, finds Jose Perez down the line. He's away from David Luiz, but not away from Jorginho on the cover. And Chelsea will play the ball out on the floor down the left channel. Alonso will find Jorginho, leaves it to Alonso. Willian's continued his run. Lovely break this from Chelsea down the left-hand side, up against Jamal Lascelles, who's a good central defender, but he's a big physical presence who can certainly strip him for pace if you were Willian. Tried to there, but good work from the Newcastle captain.
Encouraging for Chelsea, having a little bit of space to exploit. Newcastle find themselves a bit disjointed because they'd just come off and attack themselves, and good defending, as you say, from Lascelles, tracking Willian into an area that he probably doesn't want to go into, being the way he is. Good defender of the 18-yard box, but Chelsea's outside forwards will try and entice the centre-halves into those wide areas.
Low cross from Marcos Alonso is cleared away by Newcastle in the penalty area for a throw to Chelsea on that far side, taken by David Luiz. Forward now to Mateo Kovacic, who will find Jorginho. 5 minutes gone in the match. Chelsea with 65% possession so far. Expect that to climb steadily. Newcastle have almost no interest in the football in these sorts of games. As we mentioned a couple of times already, lost their last 9 in a row away to the top 6, and you'd expect better from Newcastle. You expect at least a couple of draws in there, considering the style they have in these matches. Ball out on the left-hand side now with Willian after a miss-hit pass from Pedro. Down the line to Alonso. Cross towards the back post is over everyone's head. It'll be recovered by Matt Ritchie in the left-back/left wing-back area. Ritchie will let the ball bounce out of play. And Sam, we spoke about this previously, that Chelsea will get to the end line, look to cross, and when they looked up there on that far side, there's nobody to aim for when you try and cross the ball.
No, I'd like to see the statistics since they've been playing with like the false nine. It doesn't go in there. It's almost the last resort, really. And when you've got talented players, well, especially Azpilicueta, his relationship with the actual number nines when they do start with a out-and-out striker is fantastic in terms of his supply. He had a great relationship with Morata at the start of last season. He supplied a number of goals for Giroud as well. But yeah, it's not something they're going to do in this setup. They're not going to put balls in there unless they're desperate to. I'm sure the opposition today will do that on all occasions if they're in the final third, because they have the target of Rondon. And if I was he, I would position myself on David Luiz, even from goal kicks. As soon as Dubravka gets the ball, that's where I'd be positioning myself, and hopefully he will be able to win that and bring Perez and the other midfield players into the game. That's their best chance, I think, of getting up the pitch.
7 minutes gone here. Chelsea 0, Newcastle United 0 on Premier League Live. Tom Rennie and Sam Parkin with you. Chelsea with a point here. We've moved to 45, cementing their place in 4th. Of course, Arsenal losing earlier in the day, which would have warmed the hearts of many a fan in London. Tottenham, West Ham, of course, the club that beat them. Chelsea, the team chasing them down as Kepa's pass to Azpilicueta played him into a bit of trouble. Great work by Christian Atsu, who's really upped his game in the last few weeks. Christian Atsu is getting a run in the side. Has been a bit part player in the Premier League for Newcastle, but has been a real threat in their last couple of games. Certainly got plenty of pace, but has at times lacked composure for Newcastle United. Chelsea coming forward here to the centre of the pitch. They're halfway through, trying to get up towards the halfway. There's Rudiger and Luis bring the Blues left and right, then left again to Alonso. Over the halfway now. Jorginho wants the ball in the centre circle. It's back to David Luiz, and Rondon is happy to let David Luiz have it. Maybe he shouldn't have been, as he's gone over the top to Pedro, and Pedro's lobbed the goalkeeper, and Chelsea lead on 8 minutes. That's absolutely awful defending from Newcastle. It's quite simply a chip down the centre, and no one at the heart of that defence was able to clear, and after 8 minutes Chelsea have scored a goal. It's 1-0.
Well, it's an avenue that Chelsea obviously go down quite regularly. David Luiz has got such a brilliant range of passing, and Pedro does that well. I think that's why he gets picked so often, because he is a goal threat, but Richie actually passes him on, and the centre half just doesn't see the run of Pedro at all. And it's a quite brilliant touch and finish once he gets in on the target. But I mean, it's horrible defending. It's Clark, isn't it, who just doesn't see the run, passed on from Matt Ritchie far too easily from a Chelsea perspective.
Fantastic finish from Pedro, his 7th goal in the Premier League this season, first since the goal against Brighton in the 2-1 victory back in December. But Newcastle United there, the defence was almost absent without leave. They've got 5 defenders and 2 holding midfielders, and they've been done by a chip right down the centre. Frustrating for Rafa Benitez, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they work on it, and they will have been working on it, but since they've gone to this system when they're playing against bigger sides away from home. But it's still players playing in unnatural positions, and that's what it looked like to me. It was a little bit of a cop-out. I think Matt Ritchie maybe just go with the run on that occasion. He's going to be the one who's going to be up against Pedro quite often in this game.
Newcastle looking to strike back quickly with Isaac Hayden bringing the ball forward for them. No avenue to pass ahead, so he goes back to Lascelles. Chipped up to Solomon Rondon. Such a big physical presence up there. Towers over David Luiz, who he's been standing on the shoulder of for the opening 10 minutes here. Ball back out left to Ritchie, challenged by the goal scorer Pedro. He's a player that's taken a fair amount of stick during his time at Chelsea, Pedro. I've seen him described as one of the most underwhelming players in the Premier League, though Joe Cole this week praised his movement and ability off the ball. Does have a respectable scoring record at Stamford Bridge. What do you make to Pedro, Sam? Will he make it through the next phase of Maurizio Sarri, do you think?
Well, I think he's relatively reliable. I know what you mean. He's not someone who I don't think thrills the supporters, but I think that running, the movement, the intent that he shows to try and get in goal scoring positions means he's a must in this Chelsea team, because I don't think Willian does it naturally. Hazard certainly doesn't do it often enough, and Pedro does get the ugly goals. He gets across people, and he's an option if the balls are flashed in there, not the aerial balls. I think we've already touched on that today, but balls being cut back and put across, slid across the 18-yard box. He is someone who makes intelligent runs, very two-footed, can finish off either side. So yeah, he's a goal threat, and that's what Chelsea are lacking at the moment.
Real winner as well, Pedro. 20 major trophies during his time at Barcelona, including 5 La Liga titles, 65 caps for Spain. You certainly understand the frustrations of some Chelsea fans, though. What a great finish today, and Chelsea come forward again here down the left channel with Willian. It's back to Jorginho, forward towards Hazard. Pedro then robs Hayden. Can't control it though, Isaac Hayden in the Newcastle midfield, and it's back out on the left hand side with Kovacic. Back to Jorginho, forward to Willian. Chelsea scoring the early goal that Maurizio Sarri wanted. He said he wanted to score in the opening 30 minutes. That was the plan, and it was very successful. What now though for Chelsea from this point? What for Newcastle as well? Just a reminder, they are now in the bottom 3. Rafa Benitez has said it would be a miracle if they survive this season. Not too sure it's as bad as all that for Newcastle, but if you're behind the likes of Cardiff City, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, no, I fancy them to stay up, and that's just purely based on the manager. I don't think they're going to probably bring anyone in. I'd be amazed if they did. But I think he improves the players. I'm surprised that they've looked a little bit disorganised in the opening 12 minutes here, because you would expect them to be very regimented in this setup. But no, over the course of the season, I still think they'll get enough points in those tight away games against the teams in and around them, and the odd victory at St James's Park against better opposition. But things aren't going to change there until the owner either sells up or puts his hand in his pocket. I can't see Rafa Benitez being here beyond this season, even if they do manage to stay up once more.
No.
Something's got to change if he's going to remain there. I think that's clear.
Obviously has a real affinity with Newcastle United Football Club and indeed the city, Rafa Benitez, but as you say, a man who's been in charge of Napoli, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Liverpool, will still be a desirable boss for many clubs. Does Chelsea attack his Newcastle team here down the left-hand side? Hazard was here when Rafa was manager, of course. Looks to take on Florian Lejeune, beats him, but runs out of pitch. There was a tackle from the Newcastle man, and it will be a corner on the far side to Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, he's in brilliant form against Tottenham Tuesday. I mean, I thought he was by far and away Chelsea's best player against inferior opposition. I think he would have got a couple of goals, but Tottenham very good on the night and defensively pretty sound, but he was first class again.
Williams ball in towards the near post, away at the nearby Newcastle. Looked like Longstaff was the man who got the clearance, Sean Longstaff, but there is a foul in the box. It was Rudiger with the foul, and Dubravka can now take this free kick for Newcastle, who've got to score a goal. Simple as that now. They are losing once again. They've scored just 4 goals in their last 8 Premier League games, failing to score in 3 of their last 4. So we've spoken a lot about Chelsea's problems, but they are nothing compared to Newcastle's going forward.
No, and it's going to be frustrating for the likes of Perez having to play a withdrawn role. I'm sure he'd like to be up the top, but he's going to have to play a disciplined, role on the right hand side of midfield, and it's a role for the team I'm sure he'd like to be up there with Solomon Rondon.
Alonso's crossfield ball for Chelsea from deep on the left hand side, trying to release Eden Hazard. Richie away, come towards Aspilicueta in the right back area, just over the halfway line. Chelsea bossing the game, bossing possession, leading by a goal to nil thanks to Pedro's finish. It's all been fairly formulaic for Chelsea so far. Newcastle just not laying a glove at all on the Blues. Similar story to Brighton, who we were just hearing. Lost against Liverpool, but really didn't attack the Reds whatsoever. But how about now on the right-hand side? A good win from Newcastle and DeAndre Yedlin. He's robbed Alonso. He's gained plenty of grass down that right-hand side, but His pass in the field was poor, and Chelsea are back on it again.
Yeah, Alonso's not having the best of times at the moment, defensively or attacking wise. He normally guarantees you, I would say, 7 or 8 goals a season. I think he's only got the 1 at the moment, and again sloppy on the ball there, robbed by Yedlin, and it was a good recovery from Alonso in the end. But probably the first time that Chelsea have been a little bit stretched, and that's 16 minutes in.
They're so comfortable, Chelsea. The only way you feel that Newcastle are going to get back in this game, as Rudiger has the ball at feet, is if there's some complacency from the Blues. That's really the only way I can see Newcastle getting back into this. Otherwise, I think the game might be won already. We could shoot off it.
It's almost
beat the traffic.
Yeah, it's almost as if it was a manager who was, making a statement to an owner that you needed a few players. That's the way they've started this game. Well, that's not going to change. So, it just seems a little bit strange that they are so negative. They'll want to stay in the game now. That's what Rafa Benitez will be thinking. Get to half-time, get to the latter stages at 1-0, introduce some fresh legs, nick something from a set piece. That's got to be the ambition now they've conceded, as desperate as it sounds and as negative as it sounds.
Some desperate defending here from Florian Lejeune as Mateo Kovacic ran around him in the penalty area, right on the end line. He went to ground, got the challenge in, and it goes for a corner to Chelsea again on the far side. Willian's delivery away by Rondon at the near. Classic centre-forward play from Solomon Rondon at the near post. Upfield though, there's no one there, and it's actually Solomon Rondon who's got to the halfway first and is nominally chasing down the ball, but there's not a great deal of intensity to the press as Matt Ritchie tries to put that in now, chasing down David Luiz. A narky character, Matt Ritchie. You need players like that in your team. That looked a bit sad there from him, chasing down David Luiz, trying to leave a bit on him. The man who assisted the opening goal with that wonderful forward ball. 2 assists in 3 Premier League games, having not set up a teammate in 66 prior to those 3. And we criticise the Newcastle defence as Chelsea's forward ball bounces through to Martin Dubravka, and it was a really lovely picked out pass from David Luiz as well. Here he is again on the ball, midway inside his own half, as Newcastle had the ball back for almost 30 seconds and then gave it straight back to Kepa Arrizabalaga, way away to our left, wearing all-orange goalkeeping outfit today. You can tweet us, by the way, at TalkSport Live is the place to get in touch. Still plenty of Arsenal fans from earlier getting in touch with their frustrations after a loss for the Gunners today away at West Ham, a game I was at the first half of earlier. West Ham were very good, and very good value for their win as well. Declan Rice, teenager, on the score sheet. A local lad playing in the team, was at Chelsea at a very young age. We've got a similar story here as well for Newcastle. Sean Longstaff in midfield, just 21 years of age, born in North Shields. Newcastle boy. Playing in the centre of midfield, it's good to see. Throwing to Chelsea on the right-hand side here, Aspilicueta. Midway inside the Newcastle half, throwing towards Hazard, cleared away by Lascelles. Straight into touch though. Approaching 20 minutes gone, Chelsea 1, Newcastle 0, and it hasn't been a great game of football so far. I think that's fair to say.
No, they're very comfortable, aren't they? There's no press at all from Newcastle. They're just sitting in. I don't think Chelsea really get after the ball, maybe like they did at the start of the season. That seems to have altered to a degree. They're happy just to sit off a little bit as well, but I mean, there's a real golfing quality, and that first goal just changes the dynamic a great degree. And like I say, I'm sure Newcastle will just be wanting to hang in the game now.
Well, plenty of games to go. 70 minutes of action still to unfold at Stamford Bridge. 1-0 down going into the final 5 minutes will surely be the plan now for Newcastle. Plan A out the window, that's plan B. High ball down the right channel here to Solomon Rondon, who had the beating of Alonso. Alonso got back goal side, then cleared before Rondon could drive down that right hand side. No one to pass to though if he'd have won it. It's often Newcastle's problem. As you mentioned earlier on, just 15 goals scored in the Premier League. It's now the 22nd game of the season for Newcastle. Only Huddersfield Town scored less with just 13. Stopped the rot today though, the Terriers, with a 0-0 draw. now on 11 points, equal to the worst ever points tally in Premier League history, picked up by Derby County. Ball forward from Newcastle. That's fine. Christian Atsu on the halfway, who turns away well from N'Golo Kante. To Ritchie on the left, bit of pace from those two. It's not better from Newcastle. It's into the feet of Longstaff in midfield. Longstaff to Hayden. Right to Lejeune, who plays it infield to Lascelles. Longstaff wants a forward pass. Finds Clark, who chips it down the line. Ritchie made the run. Rudiger with the interception. Chelsea back on it towards N'Golo Kante, whose touch out to the side to Pedro is poorly placed and goes down a play.
A bit better from Newcastle, getting a little touch of the ball. Enjoying the first few touches from Longstaff as well. Saw him a few times at Blackpool. Saw him play a little bit higher up actually during his loan there. He's got a ferocious strike on him. Right foot, scored a good amount of goals actually in League One, but he's going to obviously play a little bit more withdrawn today, but can handle the football. He's taking it off the defenders and linking it quite nicely, and that'll do them good to just have a little spell and believe they can maybe cause them a few problems.
I found out today, I didn't know this coming into this match, that Sean Longstaff, his uncle, played for Newcastle, once at Bolton, Villa, Celtic and England as well. Alan Thompson is his uncle. Do you know
right?
That? I didn't know that, no. A bit of trivia for you there.
I like it.
Did you know as well? No, I don't know. That he's great uncle? No, I don't know. I'm going to make up something, but let's do the game instead. Ball forward here from Ritchie, trying to release Christian Atsu. Deflected away. Chelsea then are able to pass the ball out from the right back area. Jorginho down the line to N'Golo Kante. Hayden on the stretch. He's better from Newcastle. A little pressure on Chelsea for the first time. Back on the ball again. Poke from Lejeune to Lascelles wasn't great. Lascelles recovered it and goes back to Martin Dubravka on the edge of his own 6-yard box. Dubravka upfield, trying to find Solomon Rondon, who is very good in the air, but this time he's beaten to it by Rudiger. Pedro back helping out. Ritchie with a couple of swipes at the goal scorer Pedro. Free kick given by Kavanagh, our referee today. And another decision again to make for the referee as he allows play to go on. Another poor challenge there by Newcastle player. Ritchie is trying to throw his weight around, and why not? Defending for him to do here though, as Azpilicueta beats him to the long pass down the right channel, and in fact I think he will get a free kick here as Ritchie was trying to foul him and he got there first, but I think Azpilicueta had to kind of jump out the way.
Strange one. Is it for the intent, I suppose? It looks like he was going to foul him. It's a foot race. Azpilicueta is always going to get there first, but goes down extremely late, the Chelsea player.
Yeah, I think you've got to give it to Azpilicueta here, though. If that's Mo Salah, for example, he'd jump on the ground, he'd do a couple of spins. He got fouled. You know, he had to jump out the way and alter his run because Ritchie was out of control. I think that's good refereeing there. I think that's worth a yellow, which is what he got.
A bit narky, hasn't he, the last few minutes? He's had loads of bookings this year, Ritchie. It's probably because he's playing a slightly, much changed role.
Undoubtedly a frustrating year for Ritchie as Willian's ball in. Finds the head of David Luiz. Luiz won it. Looked like he headed the ball against the Newcastle player and it went over the top. He's certainly saying that to the referee, but it will be a goal kick.
Well, they're zonal marking, aren't they? And there's no one near him at all as he makes his run in. I think it might deflect off his own player. Is it off Kovacic or Lascelles? But I think that's a good chance. Probably should have done better.
It looks like it hit someone in there. Referee says it's a Chelsea man. And now Newcastle can bring the ball clear. Now they've played a lovely cross the ball here to Ritchie in a bit of space. They're midway inside Chelsea territory. Atsu had made the run ahead of him, and Ritchie looked to head on to Atsu, and it's just a poor header there from Matt Ritchie, who's been a bit flustered in the last 10 minutes or so. Got the yellow card now as well.
I think he just lost his bearings there, felt that he couldn't take it on his chest, which would have been the sensible thing to do, just helped it down the line first time.
So at TalkSport Live, the place to get in touch with Sam Parker and me this evening on Twitter. Joseph said those kind of passes are becoming David Luiz passes. They certainly are. Here's an Jose Perez pass here, down the right-hand side for Newcastle, trying to cut the ball back into the run of Solomon Rondon, but David Luiz was there to intercept.
Yeah, it's Alonso who tries to nick it from Perez. The ball breaks and is played down to the channel and into that space which Alonso has stepped out of. It was 2v2 in the middle, and Perez should not be hitting the first man there. It was a great situation for Newcastle.
Chance now for a delivery from that right-hand side from an attacking perspective for Newcastle United. They've gone short and back to Ritchie. Return ball to Atsu. Down the line to Jose Perez, who gets there just before Jorginho, but not a very well-worked corner. It does go back to Yedlin. Looks cross-field, forward to Lejeune. Luis then beats Kieran Clark away. And a volley at goal by Florian Lejeune. It was lovely technique from the Newcastle man, but goes straight through to Kepa Arrizabalaga, and Chelsea can counter. Down the left-hand side, Willian releases Pedro. Corner of the area, back to Willian. Willian to Eden Hazard. Hazard with two for company, being forced all the way to the centre circle. But Lejeune has done well there. Chased it down, and then Azpilicueta just blasted the ball against the stomach of Florian Lejeune.
Yeah, he did do well in both ends of the pitch. Great technique with a volley through bodies. Fortunately for Chelsea, straight at Kepa, and defensively did really well, just pushing Eden Hazard back towards his own goal. It's a little bit flustered, Eden Hazard, someone who's normally so good at taking it in and wriggling away from people, driven back right into his own half there.
Good to see Florian Lejeune playing football again. Hasn't actually played for Newcastle in the Premier League since they beat Chelsea 3-0 in the final game of last season, the final game of Antonio Conte's time in charge. Does seem to be the way with some clubs like Newcastle. You bring someone in, they miss 6 months, and their replacement's already got injured by the time they come back. Here come Chelsea down the right-hand side. They'll find Azpilicueta with Willian in support. Back towards N'Golo Kante. 40 yards from goal on the right-hand side. He goes back in the centre circle with David Luiz. It's a lovely, powerful crossfield ball on the left-hand side to Pedro. Looked to poke it to Mateo Kovacic. Overhit that time by Pedro. And it's through to Martin Dubravka. We're approaching 28 minutes gone here. It's Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 0 on Premier League Live. The goal from Pedro on 9 minutes separating the two teams. Newcastle have got their foothold in the game over the last few minutes. Even a shot on goal, comfortably saved though it was. Towards Rondon, who's got the strength on Rudiger. Poke back to Ritchie, then Hayden. That's the issue with Newcastle as well, isn't it? With Mo Diarma injured and John Joe Shelby, who's a creative talent, a passer of the ball. They don't really have someone in there with Longstaff and Hayden who can pick out a pass, who can look out for a special run. Yeah, I mean, it might come for Longstaff, you know, in a few years' time if he gets the experience in the Premier League. It's a big ask for him to do it on a stage like today. So yeah, maybe creativity is lacking a little bit in the middle of the pitch. But the surprise for me at the moment is Chelsea have shown that if they're put under pressure, they can ship goals, and teams are still giving them so much respect. Well, pressure here from Newcastle as Atsu finds Rondon. Well, it was great play by Christian Atsu and Solomon Rondon. They combined well. Good little robbery initially by Solomon Rondon through to Atsu. Return ball to Solomon Rondon. He was under pressure, but maybe Sam should have done better there, Rondon. Yeah, nice little exchange. It's going away from the target, but he is a pretty adept striker with either foot. Maybe could have just fronted up the defender there and tried to get beyond him with a bit of skill. But yeah, a little bit of optimism moving forward, considering they've had a couple of chances now. But yeah, here's the thing, like they wobbled against Watford away from home. Brighton put them under pressure in the second half and they conceded. And teams seem to be setting up and showing Chelsea so much respect. Crystal Palace is the obvious one the last few weeks. So negative in their setup. Have a go at them. Doesn't seem to be the way things are done for a lot of teams against Chelsea. Maybe Newcastle will need to be a bit more brave and forward thinking now they trail, as Chris Cabinet, the referee, gives a free kick to Alonso. Foul on him from DeAndre Yedlin on that far side.
I mean, I think Roy Hodgson said you go and take on Chelsea in an open game, in an open affair, you'll lose 5 or 6. I mean, Chelsea aren't doing that to teams at the moment. They haven't got the firepower. They've got very good players, of course, but they haven't got an abundance of creativity and goals coursing through their veins at the moment. It's a good time for one of the teams in the lower reaches of the Premier League to be playing at Stamford Bridge.
It would have been the case at some point, but it seemed to be now. And maybe Newcastle are sensing that here as they once again intercept a loose pass from the Blues. Rondon down the left channel, recovers it back to Ritchie. And Newcastle on the ball again. 35% possession across the half an hour we've had. Jose Perez down the right hand side, challenged by Luis. Will be a throw to Newcastle. 10 yards away from the corner flag on the right hand side, which the pacey DeAndre Yedlin will take. Certainly looks a lot more comfortable in the wing-back role than he has at right-back at times this season. His throw evades Rondon and Chelsea will clear up to Eden Hazard, who has barely touched the ball in this game, Eden Hazard, but still time to be fouled, which is often the case with Eden Hazard, the most foul player in the Premier League this season. Does his best to try and stay on his feet as well, Eden Hazard, which is a very admirable trait. Here he is now, Hazard, finding Willian down the left-hand side. Infield to Jorginho. Chipped forward towards Willian. Away by Lascelles. Only as far as Jorginho, who finds Alonso. Infield to Jorginho. Back to Willian on the left. Willian will find Rudiger in the centre circle. Got to say, Stamford Bridge has been very flat today. The early goal hasn't quite provided the boost to the atmosphere that it sometimes can. Jorginho right to Azpilicueta. Jorginho again, you can hear Maurizio Sarri asking for the switch, which Pedro has tried, and it's overhit towards Eden Hazard on that far side as a throw.
Yeah, again, just a bit pedestrian from Chelsea. Side to side. In the end, Pedro decides to switch it, and Hazard's rotated with Willian. He finds himself on the touchline on the far side, but overhit, and it's been not a particularly fluid Chelsea performance. It's routine at the moment. I think if they were to get another one, that would be that. But well, it's 1-0.
Here's Pedro looking for that second goal from nowhere. A little turn of pace from someone in the game. It really shows how slow it's been when someone does break into a sprint. He gets the shot away, but it bounces through to Dubravka, who handles easily.
Yeah, comfortable save. I was just saying it's routine at the moment. Another one would probably put it to bed, but I think Rafa Benitez will be relatively pleased with the response to going a goal behind and the chances that they've limited Chelsea to. It's not been save after save, desperate defending by any stretch of the imagination. Chelsea look like a team who are pretty desperate to get 3 points by hook or crook today. It would do, given the recent form.
N'Golo Kante has tripped Matt Ritchie around the halfway line. That's a free kick to Newcastle United. She's taken short again to Atsu. His cross bounces through some bodies before Alonso clears it away. Lejeune is then trying to protect the ball from N'Golo Kante, which he does well. Wins a throw for his team. Second time Newcastle had a set piece, and second time they've gone short and then kind of wasted it, really, Sam.
Yeah, you want to see them take advantage of those situations, put them under pressure. It's somewhere I think you can get joy as well. Yes, it's tough during open play, especially when you're set up in this fashion, but set pieces is a leveller, and Rafa Benitez, believe me, will work tirelessly on that type of scenario. It becomes even more important when you're playing against the top sides away from home.
Newcastle in the bottom three, a point behind Cardiff City. Following their draw against Huddersfield Town today, they've got a better goal difference, so if they did manage a draw today, it would once again be the Bluebirds in those relegation places. Back to Dubravka, 35 minutes gone here, Chelsea 1, Newcastle 0. Up towards Rondon, who's flicked on well. Jose Perez is onside here, he's got there! Oh, and he got the shot away, but he snatched at the chance, and it's gone wide from Jose Perez.
Well, it's Route 1 and it's Rondon doing exactly what he should do, pulling onto David Luiz, winning the header comfortably. Just actually hands him off, gives him a little shove, and Perez lacking the conviction that Pedro showed at the other end. It's a very similar chance. I think he can just loft it over Kepa, can't he, as he runs out.
Well, Sam, surely that's shown the way for Newcastle. Luis missed out, Rudiger was in no man's land, Azpilicueta is playing Ayuse Perez on. That's a huge chance, and they've got to do a lot more of that from now, haven't they? Surely.
Yeah, I mean, Rondon doesn't even need to get up and tower above Luiz. He can just use his muscle, really, to usher him out. And perfect header, and should have scored, Perez. They have taken quite a gamble off the direct balls into Rondon, though, expecting him to win it, and that's why they've been caught out a little bit when it has got a little bit open, and Chelsea have broken quickly. So make sure the quality is right into Rondon. Don't go too quickly, but the tactic was executed perfectly there.
3 shots now from Newcastle. Just the one on target from Lejeune, but Perez's chance the best of the whole lot. Got along again here, this time towards Ritchie. Lost out to Azpilicueta, and then he tried a little nibble at him as well. He's got to be careful, Matt Ritchie, as N'Golo Kante beats Lejeune to it and beats Hayden to it. Running cross field, runs into DeAndre Yedlin, breaks back to Kovacic, left to N'Golo Kante again. Kovacic dribbles away from Hayden. Willian on the left-hand side, coming towards the corner of the penalty area now. Behind him is Alonso into Jorginho, back to Luis. David Luiz cross field to Azpilicueta. Just in field, he'll find Pedro, back to Azpilicueta again. Jorginho under pressure from Rondon. Rondon won it back, but illegally, said referee Kavanagh, and that will be a free kick to Chelsea in the heart of the pitch.
Yeah, a clear foul. Again, Chelsea not really looking like they're going to hurt Newcastle with the ball and dictating the possession, but Newcastle posing a bit more of a threat, countering.
Hazard out left, flicks into Alonso, who's now playing centre forward. Flick back in the air from Alonso towards Hazard, goes out of play off a Newcastle leg for a corner to Chelsea. It's almost, Sam, like Eden Hazard wants a striker to chip the ball into.
He's almost going and playing out on the left-hand side at times now. I just think there's 3 centre-halves up there. Naturally, it's going to be very, very congested, and we've hardly said the names of the Newcastle centre-halves either. Their job's a little bit redundant today.
Willian's chip straight to Dubravka. And that about sums the game up, really, for both of these teams. Barring Pedro's goal, is 1-0 to Chelsea, but not been an end-to-end encounter so far. Newcastle should sniff a chance here. They've won the ball high up the field again through Rondon. Ritchie down the left channel to Christian Atsu. Atsu's in the box here, drops the shoulder, and Pedro's done well actually to read that as he tried to poke it towards goal and nick it off the Ghanaian international's feet.
I had to go in. Jorginho lost the ball, they work it to the left hand side. Atsu just had to stand it up, I think, first time. Luiz and Rudiger were beyond the near post almost, and I think it was Azpilicueta who was picking up Rondon in the middle, but they're the situations as a big old-fashioned number 9. You wait probably long spells in games to get the scenario like that. I had to go into the box.
Ritchie's delivery, left-footed, out-swinging. It's the back of the head of David Luiz, and could have gone anywhere. It's gone out for another corner to Newcastle, another chance for Ritchie to deliver. They've got Rondon right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Ayuse Perez with eyes on the goalkeeper. Couple players around the penalty spot too for Newcastle. Ritchie nearly went short before Atsu was marked. Ball comes in this time. Good win! As rare as a dodo's egg. A Newcastle goal. Kieran Clark, what a header. Rose highest, rose brilliantly, celebrates with those Newcastle United fans, and it's a goal that could drag the Magpies out of the bottom 3. It's 1-1.
Well, it's a great header and it's a great delivery from Matt Ritchie, but there's no one picking him up because there's zonal marking, I think, Chelsea. Rudiger's close enough to Rondon, but the rest of the Newcastle players have got a free run. It's David Luiz who's closest to him, but not directly picking him up, and it's a perfect header But I mean, what do you expect? Get someone tight, get someone close enough to stop the initial movement, and then there's no header on target. It's too little too late for David Luiz, and it's an excellent header right in the corner.
Third goal in the Premier League this season for Kieran Clark. He scored against Arsenal, against Burnley, now against Chelsea. Perfectly placed header from the Newcastle central defender. Sam put a player on the post, and that's away.
Yeah, that as well. But I just...
Chelsea again down the other end. High ball to Willian. 1-1. Still remains the scoreline because Willian couldn't finish it. Dubravka came out and he didn't actually save it, I don't think.
Again, it's very similar to the Perez chance with the build-ups, a carbon copy almost of the Chelsea opening goal. It's Jorginho just with a lofted pass, run of one of those wider forwards, and Willian just comes off his heel almost, opens up the target on his right foot, should go above Dubravka, slides it wide of the near post. It's been coming, hasn't it, that goal? You could sense, I mean, someone's tweeted in and said Chelsea looked lost. I wouldn't go that far, but it's... They know what they're doing in terms of the way they're set up and the way they're sent out to play by Sarri, but it just lacks tempo for me. And if you haven't got that speed and real vigour that you're playing with, you can get drawn into a game like this.
Newcastle coming forward again here. Yedlin's cross, Richie's volley. Oh, he met it well, but he's missed it. It goes wide, and it's one of those ones, Sam, you must love. It's sitting perfectly for you. You can't wait to volley it. And he got it all wrong, didn't he, in the end?
Well, that's a really good chance, I think. If you think of any player that Newcastle's got on the pitch you want to volley to be falling to 20 yards from goal on their right foot, it's Richie. He's got a good CV of crackers. Maybe just doesn't watch it right onto his foot there and snatches at the chance. That's the third, isn't it? You know, with the goal, Perez, now Richie. There were three good chances. Chelsea, probably just the Willian one.
42 minutes gone. Chelsea 1, Newcastle 1 on Premier League Live, and for a while it didn't feel like there was a game on. Certainly is now. Newcastle have gradually got themselves into this game, and deservedly a level as we approach the final few minutes of this half. It was Hussein, the Chelsea fan listening in Nigeria, who tweeted in to say Chelsea look lost. David has said when a coach decides to play two of his best players out of position, the result won't be scintillating Sarri ball. And he references Eden Hazard and N'Golo Kante as the ball is played back towards Rudiger here. Rondon right on his shoulder. Rudiger dealt with it. Played a poke to pass back towards the goalkeeper. Newcastle now pressing high. They've got a clear in Chelsea. They do into Pedro. They've done quite well with the back away from Chelsea via Rudiger's foot. Wood passes straight to Florian Lejeune. It really was a very, very poor ball from Jorginho. And Newcastle, well, they might need to score a second here, because surely Chelsea will improve in the second period. They've got bodies over here on the right wing. Richie's crossfield ball finds Atsu now. Atsu's cross towards Rondon. Away Rudiger. Oh, it just broke for a second to DeAndre Yedlin, who couldn't quite control it. Here he is now in the penalty area, battling David Luiz to the ball. But this time, DeAndre Yedlin, the US international, was unable to get there before Luiz, and it breaks through to Kepa Arrizabalaga.
Yeah, two men over there. I think it's Willian who was lazy, slow to get back in, and Newcastle just couldn't get that delivery right from the right-hand side. First, Yedlin was really poor in his contribution there. Should have put in a better calibre of a ball for the Newcastle attackers to get on the end of.
Out right to Azpilicueta, then N'Golo Kante to Rudiger. We'll find David Luiz on the left-hand side. Down the line now to Eden Hazard. Cross towards Azpilicueta. It's Alonso and Azpilicueta, the two players Eden Hazard has tried to cross to in the penalty area there. Hazard then gives a foul away.
Yeah, well,
I can't think of a time I've seen something like that. The two fullbacks, the two in the penalty area.
Yeah, I wouldn't know if that's a tactic that they're trying to deploy. I think it's more Hazard's getting frustrated because it's so compact in the centre of the pitch when he's tried to receive it into feet. Invariably, a player of his ilk has gone searching for the ball and finding himself right out on the touchline.
Half-time whistle has blown at Stamford Bridge, and it's a game in the balance, no doubt about it. Chelsea 1, Newcastle 1 the score. The Blues opening the scoring on 9 minutes through Pedro. Newcastle grew and grew into the game before Kieran Clark's goal made it 1-1 on 40. That's the score at the interval. Analysis to follow. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Oxen Marco here. What a year in sport it was, big fella.
Gee, I tell you now, so many highlights. But
it was a great year, and we can't wait to do it all again in 2019.
Drive with David Schwartz and Mark Allen. Back in 2019 on Macquarie Sports Radio.
Okay, that's our ride. He'll be here in a few minutes. You ready?
Almost. Just getting a quote for my car insurance before we leave.
Josie.
I'll be ready, I promise. I'm using bingle.com.au.
Yeah, right.
Bingle.
Okay, Lano, what are we calling it?
How about this, Mum? The Bingley This Only Happens Once a Year absolutely massive deals.
Hurry up.
On a huge range of the world's leading brands in everything from fridges and washers to TVs, computers and Bluetooth speakers.
I've got to go now.
At prices you won't believe sale.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
But Mum, this year's sale is bigger than big.
The Bingley bigger than big sale. Done.
But Mum.
Lano.
The bigger than big sale. On now at Bingley.
Everyone's always shucking at the South Coast Oyster Company. Their oysters go all over Australia.
Keep shucking, more shucking.
So, to help satisfy demand for his finest, Ken the owner spoke to a CommBank business specialist about taking his local business national, which means expansion, which means interstate delivery.
Which means more shucking and trucking.
That's how Ken does business. However you do business, talk to us when you're ready to grow. With CommBank, you can. Applications for finance are subject to the bank's normal credit approval and suitability of the finance asset. Other conditions may apply.
The festive season, summer, friends are coming over for a barbie, and you're stocked up with the best Watervale beef. The tastiest, most consistent beef in Australia, supplied to your butcher by Breakout River Meats. Thick, juicy and tender. Watervale beef. Your barbecue or oven will love you for it. Your mates will love you even more. Watervale Beef by Breakout River Meats. Ask for it at your meeting place.
Today, many major infrastructure projects are still standing after a natural disaster due to the structural bearings and expansion joints supplied by Magiba. Magiba is a Swiss specialist and manufacturer of high-end structural bearings, expansion joints, seismic protection and structural health monitoring systems. Magiba has successfully equipped well over 20,000 structures with sustainable and reliable solutions. Magiba, solutions to every challenge since 1963. Magiba.com.au.
Will you be the winner of a luxury Surfers Paradise beach apartment plus $500,000 in gold in RSL Art Union's latest prize draw? Buy tickets at rslrtunion.com.au. Draw closes January 22. NSW permit number GOCAU 2083.
Let's go.
No quote then?
All done. I used Bingle. Fast and great value. What are you doing?
Getting a quote too.
Visit bingle.com.au for great value car insurance. Before buying insurance issued by Bingle Insurance, read the PDS at bingle.com.au to see if it's right for you. Bingle!
Premier League Live, the final game of a busy Saturday in the Premier League is at Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea are up against Newcastle United. 1-1 at the break. Rondon is happy to let David Luiz have it. Maybe he shouldn't have been, as he's gone over the top to Pedro, and Pedro's lobbed the goalkeeper, and Chelsea lead on 8 minutes. That's absolutely awful defending from Newcastle. It's quite simply a chip down the centre, and no one at the heart of that defence was able to clear, and after 8 minutes Chelsea have scored a goal. It's 1-0.
Chelsea have shown that if they're put under pressure, they can ship goals, and teams are still giving them so much respect.
Well, pressure here from Newcastle as Atsu finds Rondon. Well, it was great play by Christian Atsu and Solomon Rondon. They combined well. Good little robbery initially by Solomon Rondon through to Atsu. Return ball to Solomon Rondon. He was under pressure, but maybe Sam should have done better there, Rondon. Jose Perez is onside here. He's got there. Oh, and he got the shot away, but he snatched at the chance, and it's gone wide from Jose Perez. Was marked. Ball comes in this time. Good win. As rare as a dodo's egg, a Newcastle goal. Kieran Clark, what a header. Rose highest, rose brilliantly, celebrates with those Newcastle United fans. And it's a goal that could drag the Magpies out of the bottom three. It's 1-1. That's how things look at the half-time break. Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 1. Sam Parkin, former Chelsea striker, regular at Chelsea TV. Always at the bridge, enjoying the action, is alongside me, and maybe not enjoying the action from what you've seen so far. Very pedestrian, Chelsea.
Yeah, just a continuation of the last few weeks, I think, Tom, and we've seen this scenario unfold a number of occasions, unfortunately. Started the game pretty well, must be said, helped by a really bad defensive mistake. I thought they were really poor for the opening goal, but a perfect opportunity to kick on and play with tempo and put the game to bed and really make a statement today ahead of a massive couple of weeks for the club. And what's unfolded is just the same of what we've seen the last few weeks. Newcastle got a foothold in the game. The football's been too slow, it's been too predictable, and Newcastle a good value to be level at half-time, certainly.
Sam, you've analysed Chelsea a lot this season. You've seen a lot of what Maurizio Sarri does. Is he the kind of manager, like Unai Emery has proven to be in the Premier League, where he will be able to affect this game from the subs bench? And do you see him doing it quickly?
Personnel-wise, yes. The system, no. Little subtleties, maybe, but yeah, personnel-wise, I wouldn't be surprised if he changed it quite soon in the second half. I don't think he'll do anything at half-time, if you're asking me if he's going to be that reactive like Emery's shown to be so far this season. But certainly in the second half, I think he'll certainly look to Hudson-Odoi and Giroud are the two obvious ones, potentially Ross Barkley. They're the three changes he'll make at some stage. It's how quickly he does it, how unsatisfied he's been with that first half, but it's been poor, and that goal looked like it was coming.
What about Newcastle? They had a really tough opening 15 minutes, but from that point I'd probably say they've been the better side. They've had some good chances as well. They've got a man in Solomon Rondon who I think's got the beating of the two central defenders. Do you think they'll come out second half and be positive, try and attack Chelsea? And if not, why not?
Yeah, well, they'll have been taken huge hope, I think, from the way they performed in the last 20 minutes. I think the two wide players have done well, actually, Perez and Atsu, in their ball retention and getting up alongside Rondon at times. I think we spoke about it in the opening few minutes of the game, Rondon to pull onto David Luiz, and just, you know, if they're going to get good quality, he's going to win that all day long. So the two midfield players haven't really been involved, but two wide boys done very well. I think it's important they start in the same regard, start on the front foot, because this Chelsea team defensively can be got at. I think we've seen that in the last month, and Newcastle have proved that in that first half, in my opinion.
Sam, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Elsewhere today in the Premier League, it finished 1-0 to West Ham against Arsenal in the early game of Saturday. Arsenal find themselves fifth in the table, 41 points. Today then a chance for Chelsea to pull away from the Gunners. Let's hear from their manager, Unai Emery, who says his side deserved a draw at London Stadium.
It's a bad result, but in the 90 minutes I think we deserve maybe something more, but it's enough for to draw, for to win, and we got some chances, but it's enough for a score, and we consider not really good chances from them, but a lot of corners, and sometimes also through the corner can score like they did, and I think after defensively they worked well, and the match is with this goal is finishing.
Yeah, thoughts there of Unai Emery, the manager of Arsenal. The Gunners find themselves just 3 points clear of Manchester United, who of course play tomorrow against Tottenham, and a big win for United, and they would usurp the Gunners in fifth already, which is incredible. And you've got your Arsenal back. Many of the Arsenal fans have been saying this season. Well, down in sixth, you certainly have. Elsewhere in the Premier League today, Brighton were beaten by Liverpool by a 1-0. The Reds top of the table, of course, recovering from their loss last time out in the league against City and Cup against Wolves. Let's hear from the manager Jurgen Klopp, who says only one team deserved to win that match.
We need to get results pretty much every day. I don't think that anybody, I get it, but from Brighton's side thought we should have a point. So I don't think that, because it was only one team who should get the points here today, that were us, and we have to, for that you have to do different things, and first of all you have to be ready for all the difficulties of a game, and the boys were ready. Winning at Brighton is absolutely, you cannot take for granted, not in the situation they are. They didn't lose the last 4 or 5 games, so we came here, and I don't think there was a lot of doubt who should win the game today.
Yeah, thoughts there of Jurgen Klopp. They probably did deserve to win, Liverpool, but once again were not at their best. Elsewhere today, Burnley 2, Fulham 1, Cardiff and Huddersfield finished 0-0. There's a result you could have predicted before the weekend. Crystal Palace led against Watford, but were beaten by 2-1 by the Hornets in the end at Selhurst Park, and it finished Leicester 1, 10-man Southampton 2. A victory for the Saints, their first since the victory over Huddersfield Town back in December, moving them out of the Premier League's bottom 3. A poor result for Leicester City. Claude Puel, a man unpopular at both of those clubs, and he may well be the next manager sacked in the Premier League. The Foxes very much in that battle for 7th alongside Watford, West Ham, Wolves and Everton. Newcastle not in that chase for 7th, but certainly hoping to survive in the Premier League, and a point here would go a long way to the total they are going to need. They would move to 19 points and out the bottom 3. A vital 45 minutes coming up for the Magpies. Same for Chelsea as well if they want to remain above Arsenal and Manchester United in the Champions League places. Also just a few points behind Spurs as well. A title tilt isn't really on, but certainly they would love to pip Tottenham for 3rd in the Premier League's top 4. Look, that's long-term ambitions. In the short term, they've got to beat Newcastle. Second half is next. It's 1-1 at the break. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go! Australians are a generous bunch, giving more than $3 billion annually. But it's not just about how much we give, but also about how we do it. Equity Trustees manages more than 600 philanthropic trusts, most set up by ordinary people like you. And each year, around $75 million is distributed to charitable causes. With 130 years of experience, talk to Equity Trustees about creating a philanthropic legacy that will live forever. See eqt.com.au.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bright from Macquarie Stem Cells. Our medical team understands osteoarthritis can cause severe pain that may eventually lead to joint replacement. At Macquarie Stem Cells, we perform a range of biological treatments for osteoarthritis. It's a surgical procedure, so you'll need a second opinion. We were the first to perform this treatment in Australia almost 10 years ago. To find out more, please visit macquariestemcells.com or call 9824 3044.
Unique events, amazing cruises. That's exactly what you'll enjoy with Imagine Cruising. Fuel your passion for Formula One at the Monaco Grand Prix with tickets and an exclusive event with racing legend Martin Brundle. Plus enjoy 2 nights in London, a gala dinner at the filming location of Downton Abbey, and a 14-night Baltic cruise on board Sapphire Princess. Call Imagine Cruising now, 1-800-957-451. Use the code word radio to unlock your bonus, 1-800-957-451.
Supercar star Chaz Mostert drives fast, but is he fast enough to say all the sports KO streams live and on demand in 15 seconds?
Aussie Rules, Rugby League, Rugby Union, Supercars, Formula 1, Cricket, Football, Basketball, Tennis, Golf, American Football, Baseball, Athletics, Darts, Skateboarding, Hockey, Rowing, Softball, Surfing, Volleyball, UFC, Lacrosse, Wrestling, Mountain Biking, Handball, Boxing, Hurling, Gymnastics, Equestrian, Road Cycling.
Oh, 30 sports, Chaz. Good, but not good enough. KO lets you instantly stream over 50 sports live and on demand. KO. Stream more sport.
Infinity Centre Castle Hill is Australia's largest infinity centre, where luxury meets performance.
Don't settle for ordinary. Take performance to the next level with Infinity's Q50 and Q60 range. Go online to book your test drive today or give the team a call. Infinity's 2018 plate clearance. You'll need to be quick before they all run out.
Infinity Centre Castle Hill, a great team at Victoria Avenue, where luxury meets performance. Terms and conditions apply. DL 035681.
Introducing New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, the state's largest will maker. Our experts can help you make or update your will and then store it for you too. With our flexible consultations, you can start the process online, call us, or simply drop into one of our 9 offices throughout New South Wales. We make preparing a will easy. While some things have changed over the years, others remain the same for a good reason. New South Wales Trustee and Guardian, writing wills for ages. Start your will today. Visit tag.nsw.gov.au or call 1300 10 20 30. For fees and charges, please see our website.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea 1, Newcastle United 1 from Stamford Bridge. Tom Rennie and the former Blues and Ipswich and Millwall striker Sam Parkin with you. This is Premier League Live. The Chelsea players are out. We are waiting for Newcastle's 11 to join them at the start of this second half. A reminder for you, actually, we're back in the Premier League tomorrow. A couple of games for you. Everton against Bournemouth is the 2:15 UK time game, followed by Tottenham against Manchester United, 4:30 UK time. That one gets underway. And then Monday Night Football this week sees Manchester City take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Right, team news here for this game, starting with Chelsea. Kepa Arrizabalaga is in goal. Back four, left to right, is Marcos Alonso, Antonio Rudiger, David Luiz and Cesar Azpilicueta. Midfield is Mateo Kovacic, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante, Willian Hazard and Pedro completing the side for Chelsea. Benches Barkley, Caballero, Giroud, Hudson-Odoi, Christensen, Emerson and Ethan Ampadu. For Newcastle, Martin Dubravka is the goalkeeper. Back three of Kieran Clark, Jamal Lascelles and Florian Lejeune, Matt Ritchie and DeAndre Yedlin in the wing-back roles. Sean Longstaff and Isaac Hayden in the centre midfield. Solomon Rondon is up front, being supported by Ayoce Perez and Christian Atsu. Benches Cher, Murphy, Fernandez, Manquillo, Joselu, Sterry and Woodman. Chris Kavanagh is our referee, and we're underway for the second half. Newcastle kicking from left to right, and Chelsea, of course, the other way, right to left. Chelsea in blue shirts and shorts with white socks, numbering and trim. Newcastle in the barcode strip, striped black and white from top to bottom with black shorts and black socks. No changes then for either team, often is the case in Premier League games. However, need to see a change in attitude and impetus from Chelsea in this second half, as Willian is being forced back towards his own goal by Ayoce Perez, and he does in fact go back to his goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga. There's Rudiger up towards the halfway, releasing Azpilicueta, then Jorginho. Good snap in the challenge there from Ritchie. Rondon's already goal side of Jorginho, wants a run up. Got a willing one here in DeAndre Yedlin. Plenty of pace to burn, DeAndre Yedlin, but often misplaces his passes, and he does just that, giving Chelsea the ball again. Here's Willian up over the halfway line now. Forward to Kovacic, a misplaced pass from him. Yedlin's challenge though breaks to N'Golo Kante. Pedro in the area, saved by Dubravka. Broke nicely to Pedro. It's a firm shot, and it's a firm hand from Dubravka.
Yes, Yedlin makes a mess of things, not once but twice, gives it away when they're attacking. He's running black, trying to get into a good defensive position, and indirectly helps it on into the path of Pedro, and it's a quite brilliant save down to his right. Went for power, Pedro, not quite in the corner.
Hazard's corner for Chelsea. Oh, it's been flat tapped by Dubravka. Back towards David Luiz after Alonso's control and pass. Atsu went to ground to clear it. A real flap at that ball from Dubravka.
It's Rudiger and Lascelles who are just in front of him. He just pats it down to Alonso, and Atsu, importantly for Newcastle, just gets a toe on it to divert it away.
Just wonder whether Alonso was so surprised by what Dubravka did there, he wasn't ready to turn that ball home. Let off for Newcastle at the start of this second half as Eden Hazard looks to get away from two. Struggles to do so, and Newcastle smuggle the ball clear. Ayoce Perez down the right-hand side looks to release the runner Rondon by Alonso, and it's a throw into Newcastle just inside their own half. Seeing a replay of that shot from Pedro, certainly firm. Close to the goalkeeper though, wasn't it, I suppose?
Yeah, it was. He went side foot, firm strike, but maybe looking back he'd have maybe just put his laces through it. It's quite a comfortable save.
Newcastle here with Ritchie, ball in towards Christian Atsu. Well, he rose well, Atsu, and you can hear the photographers near our effects mics. They thought that was a big moment. I thought that was a big moment. It just skims off the top of Atsu's head.
I think Atsu actually just takes it off the head of Rondon. Rondon's actually coming back towards the ball. It's a little bit behind him, but he's such a good header of the ball. I think potentially he would have had the better chance there.
Well, Christian Atsu, we praised him in the last couple of weeks for really upping his game, and he should have scored there. He's got a run on the ball. It was a lovely delivery. Him and Rondon were both fighting for it. Once again, it's Newcastle trying to get forward, which we weren't expecting too much of this evening. It's good to see. Chelsea now trying to do the same thing as Alonso is released down the left-hand side by Willian. His cross is blocked by Yedlin. He then loops the ball up in the air, but not very far away. Eden Hazard has then miscontrolled the ball, dropping on his right boot. And didn't the Newcastle fans away to our left in that corner just love that?
He's not been involved a lot at all this evening so far. He's been the forefront of everything Chelsea have done well attacking wise in the last few weeks, but he's been not heavily involved at all tonight, and that just sums it up really. A loose touch, you don't see them too often.
Oh, and David Luiz there has been challenged by Jose Perez. It broke to Christian Atsu, who was almost through. Referee Kavanagh has given a free kick Chelsea's way, and it's a huge sigh of relief for David Luiz. Here he is again now, up over the halfway line. Brazilian central defender, that familiar curly mop of hair. N'Golo Kante. Now find the ball out right. He's given the ball away now, Kante. Miscontrol from N'Golo Kante of all people. Atsu then tries to bring Newcastle up the field. He's fouled by N'Golo Kante. The misplaced passes, Sam, are stacking up here.
Yeah, it was poor again, but like in the first half, Atsu's really bright, nicks the ball and starts driving towards Chelsea. He's impressed me tonight, and Perez doing a disciplined role for the team, but they've both done it intelligently. Hard-working pair. And it's meant that Rondon hasn't been completely isolated when they've attacked.
Chelsea 1, Newcastle 1. 50 minutes gone here. Free kick to Newcastle is just inside their own half. Ritchie into Yedlin. He looks crossfield to Lascelles. Lascelles heads forward. It's away by Alonso. Lascelles will then beat Willian on the edge, but Kante's there with a boot to clear. Alonso then looks upfield, turned forward by Hayden of Newcastle. Alonso's header then into Kovacic, will get Chelsea back on the ball on the ground. Jorginho into Kante, back to Jorginho. Again, look at Azpilicueta screaming for it for a good 10 seconds or so before he finally receives it, and Newcastle are able to crowd him out. Luis up to the halfway line. He'll find Willian down the line to Eden Hazard. Hazard now takes on Lejeune and beats him into Kovacic. Back heel to Hazard. Better from Chelsea. Checked out right now to Azpilicueta. Jorginho forced to turn away from goal. Rudiger back to Jorginho. Jorginho then being chased down by Longstaff in midfield, forcing him back to Rudiger. You could just hear there the home crowd. Not too sure that Jorginho has won too many hearts and minds during his time at Stamford Bridge. Ball forward now to Hazard. Rather ricocheted off his thigh. Lejeune had to go to ground and beat him to it, and did. Goes out for a throw by the corner flag. Yes, it is. Taken to Kovacic. Better from Chelsea though, they are growing in this game. Hazard now turns away from the attentions of Longstaff and looks crossfield on the ground. You'll find Jorginho chipped out left towards Hazard and chipped way over the head of Eden Hazard. Another poor pass from the Sarri man in midfield.
Well, it's much better, and the reason that it's better was just the tempo of the passing. It's been pinged around to people's feet, nice and quick. Unfortunately, the Kovacic little back heel was just behind Eden Hazard, and then the ball shifted to Jorginho and the sting goes out of the attack. But at least there's a bit more pace about it, a bit more purpose, and I think that comes from David Luiz, that stepping out and pinging it into people's feet and encouraging them to do likewise.
From the Chelsea fans' perspective, I know you know a lot of Chelsea fans and are in with the Blues supporters, Sam. Do they like Jorginho? Is he a popular figure among supporters?
I wouldn't say they've taken him completely to their hearts, but I think they're aware that he's such an integral part of this Surrey plans. They're just getting on with it at the moment. I mean, without him, I suppose you don't have a Maurizio Sarri, if you know what I mean. I mean, he's so integral to the way he sets his team up.
Here's Kante, who used to be integral to this Chelsea side. He's won the ball back for the Blues and brings them upfield. He releases Willian, who gets the shot away. It's blocked by the Newcastle defender Florian Lejeune in there. who's been working hard, Florian Lejeune. Gets the block in, first start this season.
That's the Kante winning the ball up a little bit higher, so the next pass is invariably a strike. And, that's behind his thinking, of course, why Kante's playing slightly higher up.
Willian's ball towards the near post, may have been creeping in. Rondon dealt with it at the near post, cleared away. Someone on the near post, clearing the ball. It will never catch on. Willian again with a delivery here on the left-hand side. Good delivery too. Dubravka again has totally flapped at the ball, and then Jose Perez can't get it clear. Referee has then given a free kick. The assistant says a push by a Chelsea player on a Newcastle. Assistant on that far side has given it. Referee has acquiesced to that decision, and it will be a free kick to Newcastle. But Sam Dubravka twice has totally panicked there.
Well, they haven't conceded, but I'm not sure the goalkeeper should be making a save from the corner, low down to his left-hand side. Shouldn't he be coming out and dealing with the initial problem, which is obviously the ball at his highest point of the flight at the near post, come out and be a little bit more assertive? In the end, I think it's luck rather than judgment which sees him turn it away.
High clearance, aim towards Rondon, just fell a little bit short there for Solomon Rondon. Hello to Lucy, listening to us in Australia, enjoying the commentary, keeping her company on her drive home. Thanks for your company this evening, great to have you with us. Keep the tweets coming in to @TalkSport Live. Let us know where in the world you are listening. Cow Ali says Chelsea are going to need a big summer transfer window, never mind January, if they're to be able to play Sarri ball next season. TalkSport Live, the place to share your thoughts with me, Tom Rennie, and Sam Parkin alongside me, former Chelsea striker. As Rondon looks to flick on a high ball towards Jose Perez's run, it's cleared away up towards Willian for Chelsea. Just inside their own half here, lovely 1-2 between Alonso and Willian, and then forward to Eden Hazard, who's got the run on Lejeune, but he's being held up by the Cells. Alonso on the overlap, here he is now. Low cross is very nice, Pedro with the shot. Oh, and he just couldn't quite get hold of that, Pedro. And it bobbles through in the end to the grateful arms of Dubravka.
Again, it's really sharp football down the left-hand side, encouraged by some of those members of the coaching staff. You can tell they're trying to encourage the team to play a little bit quicker. Nice little 1-2, and in the end, just skews his shot really, Pedro, on his left foot into the ground, and it's easy for Dubravka, but it's much biting for Chelsea.
Oh, what a turn from Hazard. He's away from Lejeune, bearing down the penalty area, left to Willian now. Willian with the early shot. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Willian. Classic shift and shoot. No chance to Dubravka. Chelsea have been growing in this game, and they deservedly retake the lead. Great strike from Willian, set up by Hazard. It's Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1.
Well, it's been a pretty impressive 7 or 8 minutes from Chelsea. They've really stepped on the gas, and that's the first time Hazard's really been able to do that little wriggle away with his back to goal, turns away from his marker. I think it's Clark. It's fantastic. Takes it on his back foot, shifts it to the left-hand side where Willian is waiting, and he just cuts in field past Yedlin far too easily, but you just have to appreciate the finish. I think it kisses the far post maybe on his way into the net. It's a quite brilliant finish from Willian.
Yeah, fantastic goal from the Brazilian. He's first in the Premier League since scoring in the 4-0 rout of Burnley back in October. Did score in the Europa League in December. A player you feel should score more. He's a wonderful talent, a wonderful wand of a right boot. And that's a fantastic finish to put Chelsea back in the lead in this game. And we're going to need, from a Newcastle perspective, another Lazarus-like comeback. They've got to score again.
Just takes the faintest of nicks off Lascelles' head there on his way to the far post. I mean, I think if he's fronting you up in the 18-yard box, you show him down the outside there, don't you? You show him away from goal. And invariably, I think Willian comes out and just pops the ball off to one of his teammates. I don't think that he can hurt you. They've got enough bodies back there showing him inside is criminal, really, because he's the best in the business at that, really, isn't he? Doesn't even need to look when he's trying to find that far corner. No backlift. He's exceptional at that type of finish. I think they've defended the 2 goals awfully.
Chelsea coming forward here again with renewed vigour. As Kovacic finds Hazard, left to Willian again. It's all coming down this side for Chelsea. Alonso back to Kovacic. Edge of the area, running cross field, finds Pedro, back to Kante, right to Azpilicueta. Up against Ritchie, back to Kante again. They're happy to go to the halfway line, Chelsea, and this time not getting the barracking from the crowd for doing so because they lead. Luis with a chip towards Kante, it's away from the cells. Rondon will beat Jorginho to the ball, but it breaks to Hazard and to Kovacic, try to return pass. Hazard feels like his shirt was pulled there as he looked to run through. Referee Kavanagh has given nothing, and on the hour mark it's in Dubravka's hand, and it's Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, we were questioning whether we'd see much of a reaction in the second half. We certainly have done, I think, the last 5 minutes or so, but nothing changing within the system, just a little bit quicker on the ball, and that's been my criticism of them in the recent weeks. 1 and 2 touch, move it, sometimes try and do it first time, and certainly the pace of the passing's been a lot better.
Oh, Hazard's turned away from Longstaff again, but not away from Christian Atsu, who put a really good challenge in. Certainly dropping deeper to try and get involved in the game. Eden Hazard, it's working, but you've got to give it to Atsu. That was a good challenge. Hazard wasn't happy, but he got a great big meaty chunk of the ball there, the Ghanaian international. Great turn, isn't it, away from Longstaff. A couple of times now he's done it.
Yeah, not sure there was anything on the ball there. Haven't seen it again. I think it's actually Hazard's toe that pokes it away, the Newcastle player, and there's a little coming together. But yeah, he's starting to grow into the game now. It's as quiet as I've seen him, like I said, in the last month, 6 weeks.
Does he get enough free kicks? Eden Hazard, he's the most foul player in the Premier League, but should it be more? Does he need more protection?
I think he gets enough free kicks. He maybe doesn't get enough yellow cards given to players for fouling him, but they spread it out now, don't they? I think teams, and certainly on Tuesday against Tottenham, he was in the wars again, but gets on with it, doesn't he? I think it's just because he's such a unique player, though, Tom. There's players like, off the top of my head, people like Wilshere, the way that they invite the challenge, he's similar in that regard.
Come back to that as Newcastle in the penalty area here, and Ayose Perez has gone down. 1-2 with Solomon Rondon. Broke back to the Newcastle striker who hit the deck. Now he's claiming foul. The referee has totally waved it away. We're getting a replay now on the monitors. Lovely 1-2. Rudiger was the man who is being accused of a foul. We're getting a really good angle on the monitors now, and absolutely no foul there for me. Sam's the in a second as Rudiger clears it. In fact, we've got some time for that now.
Yeah, slight little tug, wasn't there? I don't think is enough for him to warrant being given a penalty, but again, a little scare for Chelsea. But that's the first time that Newcastle have had any ball near the Chelsea 18-yard box. Has been much improved from the home side. Looks like he was just ready in a substitute as well, wasn't he? So, some fresh legs.
Eden Hazard's got the pace in his legs here. He's been released down the right-hand side. Looks crossfield early to Willian. His pass deflects back to Eden Hazard. Volleys at goal. It's hit Lejeune. Just spun up in the air from the tired legs of Florian Lejeune. Wonder how far he could go on here in the heart of that Newcastle back three as Chelsea pick up the ball again on this left-hand side. Good challenge by Perez on Alonso. Breaks to Solomon Rondon, has been fouled repeatedly there by Jorginho. Eventually the free kick will go the way of the Newcastle striker, and Jorginho will pick up a yellow card. He pulled the shirt, he nibbled at the ankles, and he gets a deserved yellow.
Yeah, Alonso's the one who gives it away. A complete air kick. He puts Jorginho in trouble. Mismatch. The pace and the power of Rondon, too much for the Brazilian. It's a clear yellow card stopping the counter-attack.
Change here for Chelsea. It's a familiar one for Mateo Kovacic. He'll leave the field on 62 minutes. Does tend to happen quite a lot for him. And it's the, once again, England international Ross Barkley who comes on to replace him, who has had a growing influence this season under Maurizio Sarri. Obviously rates him as a player, the amount of football he's played.
Yeah, a bit of a toss of a coin between those two at the moment. He had a purple patch, Ross Barkley, about a month into the season. He's just gone off the boil a little bit recently. A couple of poor games. Certainly I didn't think he was great at Tottenham, and that Crystal Palace narrow victory, but plenty of opportunities coming his way.
Maybe opportunity here for Newcastle as Jose Perez's ball is whipped in towards the penalty area, towards Rondon, but Kepa, the goalkeeper, comes out and gathers. He'll probably knock this ball into touch here, as Eden Hazard was knocked to the ground earlier on in the play there. In fact, Hazard gives the thumbs up, and Chelsea are able to get on with it with David Luiz, who looks over the top towards Willian. It's a lovely ball. Willian's got there, lobs the goalkeeper. Dubravka makes the save, and Lascelles is there to clean up too. Well, once again they're done with a simple ball over the top, the Newcastle back line, and Willian, he's unlucky. It's a great run and lovely effort.
It is. I think Yedlin's been caught out quite often, and it's a high line there, and if there's no pressure on that ball, that is going to come all day long from David Luiz or even Jorginho. So I think the goalkeeper's starting position has got to be a bit higher as well. He's got to expect that's going to come. And there's been 3 or 4 scenarios where Chelsea players have got to the ball first, over the top, and had the opportunity to go over Dubravka, little lofted finishes, and he's fortunate that Willian isn't that accurate there.
Willian's ball from the corner flicked on towards the back post. Alonso can't recover it. N'Golo Kante can. Back towards the halfway from Kante, but he just couldn't keep it on, and it goes out of play. 65 minutes in. Still got the same Newcastle side out there. Just wonder whether they might be thinking about a change. They've got Murphy, who's got plenty of pace. Josselou, of course, is a centre forward. Whether you rate him or not is another discussion. They have got attacking options, and they could maybe change the style as well. And you've got to feel a little bit for Florian Lejeune as well. This is a tough old game to come back in.
Did well a few moments ago when Hazard had that brilliant run right hand side. He had to put the pace on the pass to try and feed it into Willian again, and Lejeune did really well to block it.
Jamal Lascelles might have an issue here. Now, he was the man who was running back to the line after Willian's lob at goal. It was saved by Dubravka, and then he sort of ran into the advertising hoardings behind the goal, and we can just see here that he's cut his knee. He may have done some muscle damage as well there, as his thigh sort of collided with the top of the graphics hoarding, but he's now had to go down onto the ground and receive some treatment, and it might well need Federico Fernandez to come on, and that was probably planned for Lejeune, so this is going to be a tough one here if he has to come off for Lascelles and Fernandez come on. Just give me a moment to remind you of what has already happened today in the Premier League, and also to tell you what's coming up tomorrow during with TalkSport's global broadcast partners around the world. Today, West Ham United beat Arsenal by 1-0. Declan Rice's first goal for the Hammers, the winning goal against Arsenal. 1-0 it finished there. Elsewhere, Liverpool won 1-0 away at Brighton. Burnley beat Fulham by 2-1. 2 own goals in that game from Fulham. Does have that feeling writing is on the wall for the Cottagers. Cardiff 0, Huddersfield 0, Crystal Palace 1, Watford 2, and Leicester 1, Southampton 2. Tomorrow we've got Everton against Bournemouth and Tottenham against Manchester United, followed on Monday by Manchester City, the champions, up against Wolverhampton Wanderers, the champions of the Championship last season. Still receiving treatment here, Jamal Lascelles, so Newcastle temporarily down to 10. Ball is back with the Chelsea goalkeeper, Kepa. He will go left to Alonso. Forward now to Ross Barkley. First touch for him, back towards David Luiz. Right to Rudiger. Lascelles is now back on. Marking Eden Hazard. Work off the ball, but has not seen too much of the action on it. Chelsea's ball forward, intercepted, breaks back to the feet of Azpilicueta, who's given it away to Longstaff of Newcastle. Here's Jose Perez, who turns forward. Right to Yedlin, who can pump the pistons and get upfield. Back towards the Newcastle half, and back towards Martin Dubravka. Well, Newcastle had a real push at the back end of the first half, and in the second period they've been almost anonymous as an attacking threat. Chelsea have to lead by 2-1. You've barely seen the ball though, have they, Newcastle, in the second period? Chelsea, though dominant in the first half with the majority of possession, this effective with it, and it's sort of drained Newcastle, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, and Hazard's been able to get into the game in the second half, cause them a bit more of a problem. But yeah, they asserted themselves from the first whistle in the second period, much improved. Just a little bit of a lull in the game now because of a few injuries and a few substitutions, but the next goal, if Chelsea were to get it, that would be that.
A little break in play here as Hazard jumped for a high ball with DeAndre Yedlin and caught the US international with an elbow to the chops, seen as accidental by the referee. Though DeAndre Yedlin may well not have seen it that way. Down the left-hand side from Newcastle to Ritchie, chipped towards Atsu. It's over his head and won by Rudiger. Down the line to N'Golo Kante for Chelsea, bit of space to run into. Looks for a pass in field, blocked by Sean Longstaff, who has got a real shifter in the central midfield. He's a tall player as well. Could be a threat in the air. He's 21 years of age in the central midfield for Newcastle United, alongside Isaac Hayden. His debut on Boxing Day in the Premier League. As Chelsea come forward again with Alonso down the line to Willian. Willian chipped towards Hazard. Cleared away there by Newcastle, calmly as well, before Edlin's miscontrol from Hayden's pass. Maybe just still feeling the after effects of that shot he took a few moments ago to the face. Cleared away from the head of Lejeune into Rondon, who chests it back to Hayden. Oh, and Hayden's just put his foot through that. Upfield, panic there from Isaac Hayden. You've got to do better if you're playing in the centre of a Premier League midfield. He's often said of Isaac Hayden might not be able to cut it at this quality, at this level, sorry, have the quality to make it. Barkley outright for Chelsea to Azpilicueta. They're just over the halfway line, Chelsea. Ball was seeing the central third of the pitch a lot. Across the 70 minutes of action, it's 2-1 to Chelsea. Willian's goal in the second half, giving the Blues that 2-1 lead. Not exactly going all guns blazing for the third, though, Chelsea. May be happy they've got the job done against the second lowest scoring team in the Premier League. Hazard now back to goal, turns forward, finds Pedro, back to Eden Hazard again, left to Alonso, surely fouled there by DeAndre Yedlin. Was fouled, they get on with it quickly, Chelsea. Round the back of Yedlin is Pedro, on the edge is Hazard. Hazard's pass to N'Golo Kante is intercepted, then Jose Perez has given it away almost immediately. He's brought down Alonso, and he's given a free kick away in Alonso territory.
Yeah, all a bit sloppy there. Hazard giving the ball away under not too much pressure in and around the 18-yard box, and then a couple of fouls on Alonso, one from Yedlin, and then Jose's the one that's penalised. Quick succession, and a number of contenders really for Chelsea in this type of area. I've seen all three of the chaps that are standing over the ball, Willian, Luiz and Alonso, obviously score from dead ball situations in the Premier League.
Yeah, David Luiz looks like he might fancy a bang at this one. Alonso, one of the Premier League's best. Willian is closest to the ball. It's a five-man wall for Newcastle, and then a further three players to the left of it from a Newcastle perspective. Azpilicueta doing a bit of pushing with Atsu on the edge of the wall. Atsu just giving Azpilicueta a shove. Referee having a word with the Chelsea captain. He's standing about 8 yards away, so I suppose he's entitled to stand there. Just adding a layer of confusion as David Luiz revs up to hit it. Well, he did hit nicely across the ball in that characteristic style, but wasn't ever coming down. May have just been a bit too close for this kind of free kick from David Luiz. Wide as well.
Yeah, he's got a few, hasn't he, in his armoury over the years, but that one well off the target. I just don't know why Willian just doesn't take every single free kick in that position. So accurate with the right foot, bending it towards that far post. Already got one tonight, with full of confidence.
Why wouldn't he have taken that free kick there? What would have happened? Would Luiz have pulled rank? Can he do that?
I don't know, maybe the distance comes into it, the angle. I don't know, there's obviously those two when it's slightly left, but just think of that period that Willian had. I think it was it Conte's last season when he was just whistling them in from that kind of distance, even wider, those ones that are probably across when you aim for the far post, and quite often they were just flying in for Willian. He's fantastic ability in that right foot.
Rudiger for Chelsea in the centre circle, leaves it for David Luiz. For a brief while, this was a very competitive game of football. Newcastle have sadly reverted to type in this second period. They're losing the game here and they're not really risking anything. And you know, there are some very legitimate concerns about Newcastle and the funding they've had, lack of it, as Pedro here is found offside from Luiz's ball over the top. But also, do they show a lack of ambition under Rafa Benitez, the way they play?
I think it's tough to criticise him. I do, with the tools that he's got available to him. He must feel this is the best way of getting something. And I'd probably have to agree with him, to be frank. I think they've played it not bad this afternoon. It's about getting to stages in games and then taking more risk, and we'll see if they do that.
Here's Jose Perez trying just that, running at David Luiz. Now he's overrun that and run into David Luiz, who's gone down. And I'll tell you what, we'll need to see us again on the replay here, but it seemed a little bit like he overran it, stretched for it with his studs in the air, and may well have caught David Luiz here in the area, just overran it. And it's almost shin to shin on the replay. Might well be a sore one for David Luiz, but it's good endeavour from Jose Perez, who is certainly a talented player. Seen him score some great goals during his time at Newcastle, and I think many of us were surprised he stayed with the club during their time in the Championship. Did exactly that. It's a popular figure on Tyneside as well.
I think it was just slip, wasn't it? And then caught quite a heavy collision, just whacked into his shins. David Luiz staying down. It's not something we see too often, the referee halting play. Chelsea were counter-attacking, but calls it back for the physio to be able to come on.
Looks like there will be a change for Chelsea coming up shortly. Callum Hudson-Odoi, the man being targeted by Bayern Munich during this transfer window, looks set to come on. Played the last couple of games in the Cup. Next up for Chelsea is that trip to Arsenal in 7 days' time. Of course, the Gunners beaten today. Very much looks like a battle for that fourth Champions League spot between those two clubs. And you've got to say Manchester United under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. Big test for them tomorrow against Tottenham. Will that be the thinking inside the club, Sam, that it's all about finishing fourth now?
Yeah, I think so. They'd obviously love to finish above Spurs, but yeah, I mean, to finish above Arsenal and Manchester United, given they've got a new manager, there's going to be more change in January, you would anticipate. Be looking ahead to next year, trying to get in the Champions League this year, potentially adding another trophy to the cabinet. But yeah, they're going to have to be on their game. Manchester United coming, I think that's, like you say, Tom, it's a big test for them, the first real test for them tomorrow, and you'd have to say a point tomorrow would be a brilliant result for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, considering how good Tottenham can be.
Should be a great game, brought to you by our global broadcast partners around the world, Phil Blacker and Chris Perry, former Spurs skipper, your commentary team for that one. Chelsea have got some tough games, as we mentioned. Newcastle got some difficult ones as well. They've got an FA Cup replay. Who doesn't love them? Against Blackburn on Tuesday. And a couple of home games. One you feel they've got to win against Cardiff City next Saturday. And then Man City a few days later. Of course, there will be another FA Cup break in there. They may be playing. They may have been knocked out. We're yet to find out. Cardiff at home, it doesn't get bigger than that for Newcastle, does it really?
No, it's a huge game, and then I think Manchester City, Spurs the next two, and then there's a couple of good looking home games for them as well, so no, I think they'll be fine, I really do.
Jorginho's pass back to Kepa here, puts him in a bit of trouble. He's able to chip the ball up towards Alonso. I'm not sure Rafa Benitez and many Newcastle fans would share your confidence that the Magpies will be in this division next year, unless there will be a couple of lovely bargains brought in during the January window. Well, ball is just bobbling around for the moment in the Chelsea half. Newcastle hoping to gather it. They have in the end. The Cells all the way back to Dubravka. 78 minutes on the clock here. Chelsea 2, Newcastle United 1 on Premier League Live. Longstaff in midfield for Newcastle, finally getting on the ball a little bit in this second half. He's done really well, you know. From the centre circle, he's found the ball right to Yedlin. Andre Yedlin in field. Back to Longstaff again, the 21-year-old. Chips it cross field. That's another lovely pass from him. Finds Ritchie in an advanced area, the wing back. Clark, the goal scorer, back to Ritchie, up against Aspilicueta. Into Atsu. Turns away from Kante. Longstaff to Jose Perez, left to Atsu, it's just behind him. Here's Ritchie. Ritchie's low ball deflected. And it's gone out for a corner. The goalkeeper tried to stop it. For a moment there, Newcastle were in behind.
Much better from Newcastle, probing. 3 lovely bits of involvement from Longstaff, who hasn't really been in the game in the second half, but he looks like a good player, Tom, doesn't he?
Very taken short. Atsu's delivery. Away at the near post from Alonso. Absolutely, he looks very impressive. Sean Longstaff in midfield, and as this sub takes place, Sam, I've got to ask you, why on earth do Newcastle keep taking short corners? The only one they actually put in the box, they scored from.
They'll say it's to change the angle, get a better angle and move them around when they've got technical players standing over it, but I don't understand it, especially this stage of the game, 10 minutes to go. Longstaff's almost doing that Shelby job, isn't he? I mean, he looks capable of doing that, and when he gets a bit more experience, he'll probably play forward, you know, a little bit more risk with his passing when he gets a bit more game time. But no, I've really enjoyed his performance, certainly this spell in the second half that he's just had.
A change here for Chelsea. Callum Hudson-Odoi on the field now, the teenager. Don't fans just love to see a teenager come through the ranks and play for the first team, just like Longstaff has done, just like Callum Hudson-Odoi is doing here? Will he remain a Chelsea player in the January transfer window with the German giants Bayern Munich sniffing around? Something that's upset Maurizio Sarri, as we heard in his pre-weekend press conference. Pedro is the man who's gone off, by the way. And it could be a tricky few minutes here for Chelsea. Certainly if Newcastle are able to score here. High ball from left to right. Found Matt Ritchie, who looked to just nibble a shot away. Snapshot, but it goes over the top, and they're going to make a couple of changes here themselves, Newcastle. Jacob Murphy set to come on. Pacey wide man. He's going to replace Jose Perez. Hard-working performance from him. Certainly really got that to his game. Murphy on. Hopefully, from a Newcastle perspective, we'll be having a supporting role alongside Solomon Rondon. DeAndre Yedlin has also gone off. Javier Manquillo is on. Just a bit of a straight swap there, maybe some fresh legs in that position. The roll of the dice has occurred from Newcastle and Rafa Benitez. His team trail by 2-1 as Willian looks cross field. Manquillo's first touch is to intercept that ball. Hayden then will chest it back towards his back three. Pumped up field by Lejeune. Great play by Rondon to get there before Rudiger, and he's released Jacob Murphy as well on this right hand side. Cross in. And it was always at the goalkeeper. Atsu maybe could have nicked it just before Kepa was able to gather, but he wasn't fast enough to get there, and it's a wasted opportunity from Newcastle. But already it's a good start to their time in the game from the subs Manquillo and Murphy.
Yeah, a shame because Rondon was involved in the build-up. He popped it off, and no one really in the box for the delivery from Murphy.
Down the right-hand side, N'Golo Kante was released before Lascelles went to ground, and that's a really good challenge there from Lascelles, as for a second there it looked a little bit like N'Golo Kante was in. Didn't quite have the pace, but did have the timing. Ball goes out for a throw on the far side for Chelsea. 5 players to aim for here, all buzzing around for Chelsea. Certainly committed bodies forward. The throw-in taker makes it 6 in the final third. So maybe they are looking for a third goal to kill this one off. It's into Willian. Good challenge on him by Ritchie. Atsu back helping him out. Kante there will get Chelsea back on it, but his pass is poor. Rondon now. Back towards Isaac Hayden, back towards Solomon Rondon again, who looks to get away from Rudiger. Can't do it that time, the German slams the door. Here's Manquillo though for Newcastle. Down the line, first time to Murphy. Back to Manquillo again, they've done well here. But Barkley and Hudson-Odoi had the pace and the fresh legs to stop the Newcastle attack. In towards Jorginho, then Hazard round the corner. Intercepted by Manquillo, but he just couldn't keep the ball on. Well, Chelsea have coughed and spluttered their way through this at times. But they're on their way to 3 points with 6 minutes of normal time remaining. It might, on analysis, be once again Sam having people saying it's a performance that papers over some cracks.
Yeah, it's not been the performance the Chelsea fans would have wanted to see coming in, all apart from 10 minutes in the second half when they seemed to get to grips with the system and the opposition they were playing against, but it's been a pretty drab last half an hour or so.
Chelsea on the left-hand side, they've got runners. One is Hazard being held up now by Newcastle's defence. Back to Jorginho, crossfield ball towards Hudson-Odoi, who's offside. Newcastle playing the high line, not very effectively across the piece, but that time they did catch the young winger, just going a second or so too early. Right leg would have been offside. Another change here for Chelsea coming up in just a few moments. Olivier Giroud will be entering the fray for the final 5 minutes. It almost feels like a pity substitution at this stage. Well, he's had to become used to being a sub in the Premier League at Arsenal and at Chelsea, but just can't understand it. How little he seems to have played football from the start over the last few years. Certainly his time here as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I think he's just got the one Premier League goal. He's not been full of goals. Obviously done better in the other competitions, but he's brilliant off the bench. But he does have that good relationship with Hazard, it seems. They enjoy playing together.
Newcastle coming forward, Manquillo hangs one up to Rondon! Oh, and he won it well, Solomon Rondon. But he heads the ball just wide from only about 7 yards out. That was a chance. Was it the chance for Newcastle?
Well, it's just a ball floated in his direction, but because of his physicality, there's only going to be one winner. I think Kepa knows it's going wide. I thought he'd given it up live when I saw it, but I think he knows that's just going to screw beyond the near post, so it's half a chance for Newcastle in what's been a pretty limp second half performance from them as well.
Change here for Chelsea for the final few minutes is Eden Hazard off, Olivier Giroud on. And still we don't see those two play together for Chelsea.
No, he's been quiet today though, hasn't he? Maybe the week just catching up with him. He was electric, didn't seem to fatigue at all against Tottenham. Their best player by a country mile, and maybe just caught up with him there and given a little bit of a rest for a few minutes.
Yeah, just over 3 minutes remaining of normal time at the bridge. It's really do or die time for Newcastle United. Scored one today, which already was shocking enough. Only on their way to yet another defeat against Chelsea. Worth mentioning with Olivier Giroud, he has scored more Premier League goals against Newcastle than any other team. 8 times he has netted against the Magpies. And he is up front now, waiting for the ball, waiting for the cross, waiting for that moment that would secure the 3 points for Chelsea. 2-1 to the Blues as things stand. Here's Hudson-Odoi, gets away from the challenge of Atsu, but the referee says that's a foul from the Ghanaian winger. Free kick to Chelsea is just inside the Newcastle half. You can almost feel it in the atmosphere around Stamford Bridge that I think people will go away from this game and they'll be happy Chelsea have won, sure, but they don't quite know what to make of it. And I think I'm in that boat as well. They've won it, but do they deserve it? Have Newcastle just been awful? What have Chelsea really created apart from the goals?
Not a great deal. I would say it's been a routine, really. They've been certainly challenged in that first half by Newcastle. Had a decent spell after the half-time break, but again, you're going, go on then, go and put them to the sword and put on a really convincing second half performance, and I think they've been found wanting once again.
Chelsea looking diagonal over the top towards Hudson-Odoi. Clear tactic, which has worked a few times today for the Blues, but this time it's overhit, goes through to Dubravka. Here's Longstaff. It's a lovely crossfield ball. He's unlucky there. Look for the run of Ritchie. He was just too far ahead of the former Bournemouth man. Goes out for a throw on the far side to Chelsea, who are just trying to ease their way to yet another game against Newcastle, where they get all 3 points. Alan Pardew was Newcastle manager the last time the Magpies picked up 3 points here. A 2-0 victory in May 2012. Roberto Di Matteo in charge of the Blues, of course, with one eye on the Champions League final at that stage of that season. And the only one of 23 games between these two here in the league, which has ended up with a Newcastle win, and history, it doesn't seem, is going to be rewritten here. Here's Florian Lejeune in his own half for Newcastle, into Lascelles and back to Dubravka. They do now look long towards Rondon, who's had the beating of Rudiger for much of this game. Beats him again here, but he's touched back towards a teammate is poorly placed. Here's Hudson-Odoi running cross-field. He's done really well there, you know. Gets there before the despairing lunge of Florian Lejeune. There again to look to clear it for Newcastle. It's hit against the shins of Hudson-Odoi. He's got unlucky there, the Frenchman. It will be a Chelsea corner after all. That cross by Willian is blocked once again by Florian Lejeune, and we'll have 4 additional minutes of play.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi's first time, really his first occasion, he's able to get on the ball and take a few touches, slaloming across the pitch, and Willian helps him out. Sharp keeps the ball alive in the final third and wins Chelsea the corner. And now, just seeing time out, it seems, I think Newcastle have certainly run out of steam and not looking like they believe they've got another equaliser in them.
Corner taken short into Hudson-Odoi. Finds Barkley. Challenge in the area from Newcastle allows Ritchie to clear it long upfield. Forward from the head of Azpilicueta on the halfway. Giroud as they headed the ball back the other way. To nowhere in particular. Atsu picked it up and was shrugged off by Jorginho. Chelsea on the ball now. Poor challenge by the hard-working Longstaff. Really covered some ground today in the centre of midfield, Sean Longstaff, but it just seemed like a bit of a tired and frustrated lunge.
Yeah, it was. He's been their best player. He's not had loads of the ball in either half, but what he's done, he's been nice and tidy. He's probed, he's shown that he can play forward. And you know, I think Newcastle fans can certainly be optimistic that he's going to become a real regular at some stage, I would suggest.
Yeah, no Mo Diarmi and no John Joe Shelvey for Newcastle today, hence the opening in midfield for Sean Longstaff. He's going to run back here as Chelsea have picked up the loose ball, and Kante is driving forward, and he finds Azpilicueta, whose cross is intercepted by Lascelles. 92nd minute of the match now, and Chelsea have a throw deep in Newcastle territory, exactly what they would have wanted. Taking their time over it here, as you'd imagine. The referee wants Azpilicueta to get on with it. Still we wait for the throw to come on. And still we wait. And still. Eventually it's thrown straight to the sense. Headed towards Longstaff, who loops it towards Rondon. Luis beats him in the centre circle to it. Alonso will then find Barkley. Barkley will find Jorginho. Jorginho back to Barkley. David Luiz will go all the way back to Kepa Arrizabalaga, who has been a bystander for so much of this half. Newcastle made those attacking changes in Murphy and Manquillo. They had an impact for about a minute or so, and the game's just gone back into a bit of a dreary format, match. Certainly favours Chelsea, who currently are winning this one. What can Rondon do to improve Newcastle's fortunes? He finds the ball right to Manquillo. Forward to Longstaff, who takes a shot at goal. It's been blocked by David Luiz, and that will be a corner to Newcastle in the last minute.
It just takes up a position inside the box, just inside right, and on the spin thumps it goalwards, takes that deflection and goes high and wide. But here we go, this one certainly will, you would imagine, go deep, slung into the Chelsea 18-yard box.
Well, Atsu again wants the short corner, and Matt Ritchie said there's no time for it this time. Oh, he's gone for it. Short to Atsu, corner of the area. Atsu now, he's got to cross it eventually. He does, he digs a good ball out, you know, and he's put it towards the back post, but no one had made the run. It's gone out of play. 5 Newcastle players screaming at Christian Atsu, and there's the final whistle. I just can't believe they didn't put that ball in the box there. Last second of the game. Frustration for Newcastle and Rafa Benitez.
He's having a conversation with one of his assistants there, and they must be saying the same thing, Tom. Just put it in the box. If you're going to shift it short, Atsu, take a touch, put it in. 2 or 3 touches and the opportunity's gone by the time he slings it in. Really poor.
Some promise from Newcastle, but in the end they have been beaten once again, the Magpies. They end the day in the bottom 3. 12th loss of the season. Chelsea move away from Arsenal, 6 points clear now of them in the Champions League places. They've beaten Newcastle by 2-1. Rondon is happy to let David Luiz have it. Maybe he shouldn't have been, as he's gone over the top to Pedro.